Pain? What kind of pain? Hot. What else?
Tingling.
Tingling, yes. Anything else?
Shock.
Yeah. Is there any way you could try to convince yourself that you weren't feeling that? No. But our mind does. Over time. You're not feeling sad. You're not feeling this. Because the mind's job is to protect. Protect us from feeling unsafe. Protect us from feeling pain. That's our mind's job. It's our protective self, our ego, that does that. Again, the ego has a bad stigma associated with it. It's not a bad thing. It is there to protect us. Thank you for doing that, ego, because it would not be alive without a protective self. So we need to come back to the body and feel. It is our communication system. It keeps us in touch with our spirit, our higher selves. So we need to come back and listen, see, feel, and heal. So when we can come back to the body, breath is huge. And from a witness-observer position, if we can objectively think, okay, what am I feeling right now? And it could be a matter of rehabilitating that, because through all of our lives, we've suppressed our feelings, especially men. It's not good to cry. It's not acceptable to cry. Suck it up, buttercup, don't cry. So we've learned to block our own feelings, to read our own bodies. So it's a matter of practice to regain that. And through repetition and breathing, we can rehabilitate that ability. And through that, we can release and replace. So we have one common, or one function of the subconscious that we do have conscious control over, the breath. So when we use our breath as part of the subconscious, we can consciously override our subconscious. So when I'm in a state where I'm triggered, or I'm upset, or I'm angry, I can use my breath to override my body's software program. So I always come back to the breath. The protective self likes to know what's going to happen. The protective self wants to control everything. On top of that, my parents were born and raised in Germany, who are quite strict and rigid. And so I grew up for a large part of my life being very controlling personality. And that was, again, just for that feeling of safety, because my protective self wants to know what's going on, and it can only know what's going on based on my past. So when I can consciously choose to feel a little uncomfortable, I don't know what's going to happen, oh my God, that's good, because I'm stepping into something new, I'm stepping into something unknown, and when I get into that unknown, I can create a new self, I can create a new persona. I can ditch the mousy and be somebody who wants to help other people. So I let go. I believe that there is a higher power. How could we possibly be sitting on an earth that's rotating in space, spinning at 1,000 miles an hour, and be all here? Wow, there's got to be something bigger going on. I let that higher power take over. Part of what helps me to do that is not my will, but thy will. My will is my subconscious that wants to keep me safe. And it's based on dysfunctional memories. So not my dysfunctional will, okay, thy will. You take over because you know better than me. And as I mentioned, the gift that we have through life is happening for me, not to me. So when I'm in really uncomfortable situations in my life, is anybody taking pictures back there? Because I want to put this on my website, and I see you listening, but you're not taking pictures.
Let's go, come on. It is on video, by the way.
to me. And now, when something happens, and I'm like, oh, that's awesome. What is it that's going on in me right now that needs healing? What is it? So when I get those uncomfortable sensations, that tightness, that burning, that closing, then I know there's an opportunity for me. That's my protective self kicking in. Why? I do my work, I breathe. What are these words on the screen there? Good, bad, right, or wrong?
Judgment?
Yes, judgment. Every time I judge, I might as well be throwing dirt on my window. So I go through life observing facts. It is raining, it is wet. It is not a miserable day because the grass is in bliss. How could it be a miserable day? It is raining, it is wet. I state the facts. I state what I can observe with my senses. That is how I live to minimize my suffering in life. Because when I say, oh, what a miserable day, guess what I just set myself up for, right? That's throwing dirt on my window, and it's blocking the pure beauty and love that exists out there for me to experience and then to share. I come back to the body, and I feel, and I release. And thank you for mentioning nature, because it's the pure. Nature does not have dirt on its windows. That is pure energy, pure love in nature. And when I can be in nature and come back to my body and listen and connect with my spirit, then I'm more apt to be able to override my subconscious. My mind will lie to me, rational lies. My mind rationalizes. And I challenge it. So let's say I got reprimanded at work and it didn't feel good. And then that night, my mind will rehash it and start running away with all these ideas and, well, I should have said this. And I pause and I breathe and I ask myself, am I okay right now? I got clothes on my body, I'm sitting on a couch, there's food in the fridge. Yeah, I'm okay. And the mind shuts up for a minute. And then 5 minutes later, it'll come back. Well, she did this, and you should have said that, and now this is going to happen. Yeah, but am I okay right now? I am. Wow. So challenge the mind, because it will have us. It only knows what has happened in the past, and it'll try to find and try to protect. So come back to the body. It's okay. So that's just restating that. I'll provide a chart that can help us to navigate this new language of feelings that is new for many of us. It was new for me. So something to help us to identify our feelings and to release them and really to uncover the pure love that underlies it all. Right? Breathe. That's very important. That's why I add that there again. So there's the chart. It's adapted from John Gray. When I am triggered, and this my daughter has used this on me in the home. It is Christmas, and I was busy and running around. I got a company coming over, and I have to decorate the tree, and I have to decorate the house, and I've got these huge bins that I have to carry up 3 stories to the attic, and I dropped them in, and it was not good. And my daughter ran into the kitchen and grabbed this chart. Mom, how are you feeling? And even that right there helped me to see that my ego was just losing it, out of control. And wow, okay, so I went to the far 2 right columns to identify what feeling, because it didn't feel good. Whatever it was I was feeling, it felt awful. So when I feel awful, I go into the 2 right columns, or when I'm triggered, not that the feelings on the left don't feel good, but I was triggered, my ego was triggered in some way. So I went to the far 2 right columns to look, what am I feeling right now? And, I blamed. Well, you didn't help me carry the thing up the stairs. Like, is that why no, it wasn't fault. That's blaming. When I blame, I am projecting, I am avoiding my own pain. Underneath my blame is, if we go to the far left column, anger. It may not always match up. That's about 70% accurate. But underneath these blocks and these general feelings of hopelessness or whatever, there's an underlying feeling that is there waiting for us to acknowledge it. So when I come back to the left column, I'm angry, oh my gosh, and I allow that feeling and I accept it. I'm angry right now. Healing happens there. And when I can use the power of the breath to facilitate that, and I use the power of my body, and I can get in touch, and I can physically say, okay, you know what, I feel you, and I understand, I understand that right now I'm angry. And I can massage the area that actually feels tight and closing and constricting. I can feel it, I can massage it, and I breathe light into that space. When it's an uncomfortable feeling, I breathe out the dark, the negative energy. I breathe in light, I massage, assertive breaths, and I breathe out the dark. So I'll be handing out a chart for everyone, and maybe it'll be integrated into the contemplative sessions to work on a little bit more. So this is what I added in last night. And a gentleman, I don't know if he's here today, the chiropractor, he said, what about self-love? And that is huge. I mean, all of this really is working towards self-love. Acceptance of who I am and where I am in my life, regardless of all of that. I love myself and what it is that I'm doing, what I'm going through. I use my power to practice and permit myself power and protection. So practice permission, power, and protection. As an adult, those are my gifts. Permission is huge. As soon as I give myself permission to love myself or to feel sad, oh my gosh, I'm sad. It's an essential emotion of life. When a loved one passes away, gosh, I'm so sad. I give myself permission to feel sad. It's just feelings. It's a human emotion. So when I give myself permission, then it starts to flow. And I use my power just to, as free will, to consciously make choices. And that's another theme that happened is choosing certain things. And protection is huge too. I mean, given the background I grew up in, to be able to, I didn't even know I had boundaries. Boundary, what's that? We have boundaries, and I use my anger now in a healthy way to protect my boundaries. And all of that is in order for me to feel safe, sane, and secure. And when I can feel safe, sane, and secure in this world, then my love, the universal love, is more apt to flow through me freely. And that feeling is, for me, just energy pulsing through me. Does anybody get the truth bumps or goosebumps? When something is true, it's energy flowing through. So when I am in a state of unconditional love, that's what that feeling is, and I know I'm on the right track. And when I'm talking to people that I meet in life, and when I encounter them, that feeling will come over me, and I know there's something good going on here. One of my favorite quotes, It's from Life and the Teaching of the Masters of the Far East. Love is the very pulse of the world, the heartbeat of the universe. It is all. Everything is love. It's the mud on our windows that prevent us from seeing that. That is it. And Fred left. Right when I need him. Any questions?
So you are always thinking about analyzing whatever you say, whatever you speak.
Awareness.
How can you do that?
Oh, commitment. I am driven because I know that there is something amazing and wonderful to be experienced. And I'm after that. I want that. I am committed to that. So I am on it. I'm on it. Because it's there. And it takes a little bit of work because I've been so programmed to believe otherwise. I've been so programmed that it takes my conscious effort. Conscious effort. Yes, it is work. Ina, it's work, isn't
Yes.
it?
A lot of work.
Yes.
Whether it's what you don't want to say comes out, you can always spread
Yes.
with your kids, whatever.
Yes, a good, very good strategy. The first thing I do is bite my tongue. Mhm. Yeah.
You talked about program education or program information. We call it artificial intelligence. Thinking on a computer point.
Mhm.
Have you ever thought of real intelligence?
Of what?
Real intelligence.
Real intelligence.
Intelligence. No.
Oh,
As opposed to artificial intelligence.
Or program intelligence. You mentioned that they're all programmed in the time.
Right. Yes.
Our intelligence has been programmed.
Right. Yes.
Have you ever thought of going back to the intelligence which is not programmed as we are now?
Getting there.
Let us know when you come.
I will. I'll be talking. Don't worry. Did you want to say?
We're talking about the way of intelligence of the body. She has to listen to our bodies, and for
Yes.
me, that was the driving force. I mean, to feel tight all the time, to feel, you begin to realize this isn't working.
Exactly.
This is
Exactly.
keeping me constricted. So, you know, you can start with how you feel with your body, and that can drive you to read and understand and do the study and begin to put all those elements together. But it can actually start by recognizing your own feelings.
Yes, which helps me, reminds me of part of my story is I was in this mentally, emotionally, sexually abusive relationship for 10 years. My mind had convinced myself that I could do it for the kids. You can do this. Just walk that side of me that I can deal with that as long as I'm here for my kids. My appendix ruptured for 2 weeks, stuck to my intestine. I was slowly being poisoned. My body was slowly poisoning me as my life was slowly poisoning me. So the body will give us signals, and when we don't listen, the body will give us bigger signals.
And that's why yesterday when I did body scan for meditation, how important it is in conjunction with the breathing to be aware of what the breathing is doing to your body and where you have those areas of pain or stuckness. And then even when your feet are tired, what is it telling you? You know, I need to stay down, I need to put all the elements together.
Yeah. Yes.
I was thinking
Very good. Did everybody catch that? Okay. Yeah.
I really like what you just said about the toxins in your life, creating the toxins in your body, which reflects what Dr. Sandy said. She said the habits of your life create disorder in your physical body. So, you know, this is a subject that's very close to me, and in the last 6 or 8 months, I've had one little thing go wrong in my physique, which I know is related to emotions. So I'm wanting to read more about this, and you just summed it up by saying that, because I really believe the truth in that phrase. You know,
The
how
body does not
if
lie.
your body is expressing what's happening around you, right?
Yeah. The body cannot lie. The mind lies, not the body. Mhm. Yes. Anything else?
So,
Okay.
very interesting, and like how, whatever you said, all our negativity, it spoils things for us, but it spoils things for others as well. I would pass it on to the children, and there's an example from my life. I mean, it would sound very funny, but now when I think of it, you know, I have a cat and adopted, you know, because she was being chased by some dogs and we got. But in our house, everybody sort of is very, very touchy about her, and she should not come here, she should not go there, so she's not really cuddled about. So we always had this thing, you know, that she maintains a distance. She loves me very much, but she keeps a distance. Now it comes to me, we have kept our distance from her. We don't want her on the sofas, we don't want her dirtying our beds, and so she loves me very much, but she maintains a distance.